So we want to talk about generational mapping, and this is key to helping all of us move forward to getting to no place left. Because in order to get to no place left, we've got to see generations. And in our works, whether it be in neighborhoods, in apartment complexes, whether it be at work, whether it be among a particular people group, we want to be able to track and just to measure and see how our generations of disciples, of churches are doing. And so therefore we need some type of simple tool to be able to use so that we can track and see what God is doing. And one, we get to brag on God, but then two, it helps us get unstuck so we can see the health of one generation and we can make some changes and tweaks so we can get to the next generation. So here's what this would look like practically. So take out a piece of paper, and I want you to draw a dotted circle, and I want you to think through your church, a church that you're leading. It could be in a home, it could be in a workplace, among a particular people group, but I want you to think through what out of these keys right here, these 10 characteristics that's found in Acts chapter 2, 37 through 47, are you guys regularly doing, and whatever you're regularly doing out of these 10 things, I want you to roll that in the circle. So for instance, we are regularly baptizing. There is evangelism and discipleship taking place. So it's just a little person bringing a friend. There is Lord's Supper. That's happening. There's teaching from the Word. There's some type of, we're regularly praying. There's worship that's taking place. We are fellowship and loving one another. There is not giving. And there's no formal leadership in our church yet. But we are committed to meet and to be the church. So this is just right now just a snapshot of what a church looks like that we're working with. But now, however, this one church has also started another Bible study. And in this Bible study, automatically they're praying. They're praying regularly. There's teaching from the Word. And there's fellowship and love. Now, obviously, some of these other things are not in there, but we're going to draw them outside. So they're not baptizing. They're not sharing regularly yet. We're evangelizing and discipling. They're not worshiping. We're doing Lord's Supper. We're giving. No established leadership yet. And you can see some of the other things that they're not doing. We're going to put out of the circle. They also haven't committed to be the church in any way. So this just gives us, now we can see our church as well as we can see what God's doing through this one member who started a Bible study in the home of another person. Now, however, this person right here also started another Bible study. But this Bible study is regularly praying, there's reading from the Word, there's fellowship, and this one's sharing. And this one wants to be the church, but it doesn't have all these other things in there yet. And it also has started another Bible study. Well, you can see how this can continuously go up to the 4th and 5th generation and beyond. And this just gives us an idea of how to coach these things into the church. So when I meet with a leader of this, I can say, brother, how can we get baptism in this circle? What do we need to do? How can we get worship into this circle? Because we want to coach every church to become a healthy church. Well, that's just church focus. Now let's think about our Timothys. So this is more of a one-on-one discipleship, somebody that we're working with like a leader. So what we're going to do is just, and here's a key down here, we're going to just draw, so say this is me, Ray, and I shared the gospel and I led Andrew to Christ. Now Andrew came to Christ, he's been baptized, and he's also sharing, but he doesn't have anybody. So I'm just going to put a little question mark here. He doesn't have somebody yet. But let's say I'm also sharing and I lead another person to Christ, but he hasn't been baptized, and let's call him Doug. Now Doug is not sharing with anybody, but so this is where we're at with Doug. But let's say I'm going to draw a dotted line to share with, to symbolize the fact that I'm training a guy named Roger. But Roger is already a believer, so I'm going to do that with a dotted line over a solid line. But Roger is sharing regularly with multiple people, and he has several guys that he's working with that he's led to Christ. So now, when I look at something like this, I now know how to coach not only myself and think through what I'm doing, but I know how to work with Andrew. Andrew, how do we get you somebody that you can disciple? Doug, what do you need? You need that arrow. So how do we get you going? What do you need to learn? Maybe you need to learn a simple gospel tool. You also need baptism. What do we need to do, Doug, for you? Roger, you're sharing like crazy, but but none of these guys are sharing. So Roger, why don't you tell me about these guys? So this gives me an idea of what Roger's doing, and now I know how to better coach so we can see generationally. So this is just a tool, but it becomes a diagnostic tool so that we can coach people how to get to no place left.